Hello, sweet friends, and welcome back to the Quilter's Candy Shop, where you will find sweet treats for the discerning quilter. Well, summer is coming to a close, which means we need to get going on our fall and holiday gifts, decor, and crafts. Today, we are going to kick things off with a fast and easy pattern called Stackable Squares. It will make the most delightful table topper, fireside snuggler, or seasonal bed cover. We will be using this beautiful and unique collection called Shades of Autumn by My Mind's Eye. The color combination of pumpkin orange, acorn brown, misty teal is just beautiful and is going to add a layer of sophistication to our very simple project. You can pick up a 10-inch stacker at our website at www.thequilterscandyshop.com. That's SHOPPE shop.com. And supplies are limited on this as it's a little older group, but we do have a few left in stock, so get yours today. Well, let's get started on our layer cake quickie. I am using a 10-inch square pack, but you can use a stack of fat quarters or scraps or whatever you have lying around. All you have to do is trim your curated fabrics into 42 10-inch squares. Flip through all your squares and make sure your directional fabrics are all facing the proper direction, and then you are ready to go. For this project, all the squares get cut the exact same way, so only cut as many layers as is comfortable for you to cut at one time. I'm just going to do, I think usually I like 6. I do 6 at a time. It's easy to keep them lined up and it's easy to cut through with my 45mm cutter. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut 2 vertical 2.5-inch strips. So 2.5 and 2.5. Sometimes if you try to cut too many layers at once, it will push fabric around and it'll make it not accurate. So just take your time and get them just right. Okay, once you have your 2 strip stacks of 2.5 by 10 inches, we are going to take this ruler here and we're going to cross cut that to 9 inches. So I'm just going to take that right off of there. Now we have a nice 2.5 by 9-inch 2 strip stacks. I'm going to make a pile of these strip stacks over here. And this is all the waste there is in this pattern. So it's really a great one for minimal waste. Now we've got our 5-inch wide strip stack right here. And we're going to do the same thing but horizontal. So we're going to make 2, line this up a little better, 2 2.5 horizontal cuts. So 2.5 inches by 5 inches here, 2.5 inches by 5 inches here, just like that. And that leaves us with a 5-inch square. So we're going to make this stack right up here. And I'm going to keep cutting through all these layers until I get a full stack of all 42 pieces in these stacks exactly the same. So just one more time for your confirmation. 1 2.5-inch vertical cut and a second 2.5-inch vertical cut. We're going to move this stack out of the way. And then we're going to cross cut at 9 inches for a 2.5 by 9-inch strip stack by removing just that little bit right up there, and that is just the waist. I'm going to add these to my cut stacks like this. And now I'll cut this one. Two and a half horizontal cut. Two and a half. So two 2.5-inch horizontal cuts, which leaves one 5-inch stack. Just like that. Okay, when I get all my stacks cut, we'll come right back. Okay, and here we have all 42 layers cut, and now we're going to start to assemble our block. Before we do that, we need to randomize our pieces, because when we put this together, we want these to be different than these. And for this pack, you can see there's like two distinct colors. There's the oranges and these teals, and then there's just a few little browns. So I'm going to take all of the oranges and I'm going to put them on top. Now, normally what I would do is probably just peel off 2 or 3 layers, or maybe even as much as 11, depending on how many I'm trying to get through. But because there's only 2 colors here, now you can see I'm going to really have mixed up. These oranges will be with the teals and etc., etc. So you can see how it's going to get more mixed. All right, so let's build our block. You're going to take one of the 5-inch squares and 2 of your 2.5 by 5-inch horizontal cuts, and these are going to get sewn on with a scant 1/4 inch. So just flip these up like this. You're going to sew a scant 1/4 inch along here, and then they're going to press out. So seam allowances go out towards the strip. Okay, there we go. Now what we've got is a 5-inch wide by 9-inch long. So now we're going to take the matching 2.5 by 9-inch strips and we're going to put them on the sides, just like that. So just flip this over, scant 1/4 inch seam allowance on both of these, right here, and press these seams also out, just like that. And there we are. And now you have yourself a 9-inch square. So I'm going to take time to go through and make all the rest of these blocks. And when we've got them all done, I will help you put them all together. All right, and here are all our finished blocks. And look, they turned out so cute. There's such a great variety of prints and colors, and I just love it. So for our layout, we're going to be doing 6 blocks wide and 7 blocks deep. And when we do our layout, we're going to rotate the blocks a 1/4 turn so that we don't have any disruption with the seam allowances. So when we put these blocks together, we had the square and the top and the bottom and the 2 sides. So the sides are vertical here, and then here we turn it so that it's the square, the top and the bottom, and the 2 sides. And then this way we won't have any seam allowance confusion. So this one gets rotated, and we're going to make 6 across. So we'll do that like this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more. That's 6. Okay. So we're going to continue making rows and laying out our pieces. So now this This time, the first one you see is vertical, this one is horizontal. So they're going to be then opposite of the upper row as well. So let's say like this, and these are just random. I will probably mix these around a little bit, and you should probably lay out all your pieces before you get sewing together. There we go. So first we'll make rows, and then we'll sew the rows together, and eventually we will have the entire top done. So as soon as I get my layout done, I will come back and we will take a look at what we've got. Okay, well, I'm popping back in here because I was having a real struggle trying to lay out these blocks. They were so random that I really couldn't find anything that looked cohesive until I gave in to the fact that there was going to be some fabrics that were going to be next to each other that matched. So here's what I found. If I used the center of this block for the next block outside, then its center for the next blocks outside, and so on, the whole quilt laid out in just minutes. Now, you may not be able to do this depending on how you put your pieces together, but if you did what I did and put the oranges underneath and then you just used the stacks all the way through, you should have something fairly close to this. And you should be able to just put down one in the corner, and then the next one, the outside matches the inside, and then the next one, the outside matches the inside, and so on. When I got to the end, the inside of the last block there then was the outside of the first block here, and on down the line. Remembering, of course, to rotate the blocks so that you don't have any seam allowance confusion, and you should have a really great layout like this. All right, I'm going to sew these blocks together and then we'll take a peek. I think this is the most unique layout technique I've ever used before, but if you can think of another unique layout technique that would work, put a note in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. Now, let's get these sewn together. Okay, sweet friends, here we have my blocks made into rows and my rows made into this quilt top, and I think it turned out terrific. Now the pattern has an option for this floating border, or you can leave it just like this with the raw block edge. The raw block edge has more of a country look, which is going to make great for a table topper, but if you want to put it on a bed, you might want to add that floating border. And here's what it looks like when you add the floating border. It's so great, it adds a little finished edge and it really makes the blocks pop right up. To finish this quilt, you will need 4 yards of backing fabric, and I'm going to be using this lovely large floral from the same collection. And I know my quilter will do some fantastically fall quilting all over it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this layer cake quickie called Stackable Squares. You can pick up the pattern, Stackable Squares, and even the Shades of Autumn 10-inch stacker from My Mind's Eye. I'll put a link in the description for these products, and don't forget to use the code YouTube for an additional 5% off for watching all the way to the end of this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you know the next time we post a fun project like this. And stay tuned for more fun quilts, tips and tricks, and a lot of sweet treats. Bye!